Hello and welcome to BMM Meditation and Self-Care Weekly Group. Our group is in United States, but people join from all over the United States, Canada, India, and other places. And basically, we focus on learning different techniques of meditation, doing meditation, and inviting speakers who talk about different topics related to meditation and self-care. We are not religious group, we are a spiritual group, and welcome everybody. And thank you for joining us today. So before we start, we have quite a few members and we always like to announce some achievements. And I want to take this moment to say that our own co-lead of this group, Anjali Joshi, let's begin by congratulating her and celebrating a beautiful achievement. We are proud to share that Anjali has successfully completed her postgraduate certificate in Ayurveda Sattva Vijay through SIPE education from Kalidas University. This is a remarkable accomplishment and a testament to her dedication to healing, learning, and service of Ayurveda. So, through this specialized training, Anjali has developed deep skills in guiding people to pay mindful attention to mind and body, cultivate wholesome positive thinking, learn healthy detachment from unhelpful thoughts, and practice Sakshi Bhav, the art of witnessing oneself with awareness. So, with this certification, Anjali Joshi is now qualified to serve as a Sattva Vijay mentor, also known as a mindfulness coach, supporting others on their journey towards mental, emotional, and holistic well being. So, thank you all for joining me in celebrating Anjali's achievement. Congratulations, Anjali.
Thank you so much, Saili. Thank you so much. So, Saili sir just said about Sattva Vijay, Ayurvedic Sattva Vijay. So, in Ayurvedic Sattva Vijay, we are trained to increase Sattva Guna. And today is my immense pleasure to guide a meditation in presence of Shekhar Dada. In Sattva Vijay, we increase Sattva Guna. We all have three gunas, and there are practices by bringing awareness to the present moment. Particularly we increase the sattva guna, and today's Shekhar Dada's topic is about Vishnu Sahastra Naam, and Vishnu is a deity about all the sattva guna. So let's practice a short meditation today where sattva guna will be increased by practicing to present moment awareness often. What happens when you start by bringing your awareness to this present moment is three things starts working better. Your dhi, dhruti, and smruti. So what is dhi, dhruti, and smruti? Dhi is your buddhi, your ability to make a skillful decisions. Dhruti is your ability to plan and execute the decisions that buddhi has taken. And smruti is remembering that you are beyond your body and mind, and that spirit is common to all of us. So when we practice bringing our attention to this present moment, to see what's happening in the body, to what happening in the mind, to look towards your thought mindfully, to develop skills of not getting carried away in the thought, also developing the skills of having right thoughts, that all helps in rising your sattva guna. So let's practice, and at the end for a minute or so we will chant Vishnu Devata's name, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So to start with, please sit comfortably. Let your back be straight but not stiff. You can take nice breath to come inside your body. You can gently close your eyes. Just being aware of any noises, any voices that comes to your ear. Through your senses, you are receiving information from outside world all the time. So right now, as we are connecting inside, we'll start by noticing voices that or noise or sounds that come to your ear. And let's make 4 compartments in our mind's screen where anything that comes through your senses, such as sound or smell, you put that into the first compartment where is the information that your sense organ has received from outside. So it's outside information. Also, we can feel what's happening in the body. If you can feel any sensation, any pressure, any temperature, any holdings, any movement, any kind of sensation, samvedana. It could be your body breathing, expansion and contraction. It could be any tightness. Gently noting as a bodily sensation and putting that into the second compartment. Mind has tendency to think. Some thoughts are automatically coming, some thoughts you are adding into it. So if you see that mind has started thinking, just gently note it as a thinking and put that into third compartment. And you can check what is mind state right now. It is calm, or is it kind of restless? Is it happy or is it heavy? Whatever mindset, bored, indifferent, joyous, equanimous, whatever. Looking at your mind state and putting that into fourth compartment. So you are resting into your awareness, relaxing into your awareness. And if your attention comes to any of these 4 things, you are gently noting it and putting into that compartment. It could be sensory information that comes from outside. It could be bodily sensation. It could be thoughts coming into the mind, or it could be any mind state. And you are witnessing it. You are feeling them and witnessing it. And at any point, if lot of thoughts and emotions starts that they are not able to notice bodily sensation or sensory information, you can just observe what kind of thoughts they are, which me, body me, mind me, Bharatiya me, relate relationship, enemy from any relationship. You can just feel that, you can just observe it. So for a few seconds, we will rest into awareness and feel experiences happening in the body and mind. And this witnessing mode from which you are all observing, you are all feeling things happening in the mind, body, information that you receive from outside through senses. We are feeling them through our Sakshi Bhav. And Sakshi Bhav is one of the characteristics of spirit or Atma. Atma guides this universe through three forms mainly: Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, and other two forms are Ganpati and Devi. We will chant one name that represents Vishnu mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, few times. You can be one with the name that you are chanting, the mantra that you are chanting, by surrendering your me into that mantra and becoming one with that mantra. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Slowly bring awareness to your body. Can rub your hands and put them on your eyes and gently open your eyes and get surrounding. Uh, Thank you. सायली सबनीस काका आलेत का? सबनीस काका?
I don't see Sabnis Kaka here.
Okay. So I will go ahead and introduce Shekhar Dada. Many of you, all of you know Shekhar Dada very well. He's been here many times. He has last time when he was here, he taught us about all the gratitude protocol, thank you protocol, and it's our immense pleasure that Shekhar Dada is going to tell about Vishnu Sahastra Naam from the neuroscience perspective. Shekhar Dada, Shekhar Mayanil, PhD. He's a neuroscientist by profession. He was a former director of the Pediatric Neurosurgery Research Program, and he and Eleanor Clark Research Scholar in Developmental Neurobiology at Anne and Robert Lurie Children's Hospital of Chicago and Northwestern University, Feinberg School of Medicine, Chicago, USA, for over 15 years, during which he has published more than 50 stellar and citation classic research papers on early nervous system development and pediatric brain tumors in top-notch peer-reviewed scientific journals. He has been practicing yogasana for last 50 years and more lately dhyan or deep meditation techniques for 25 years. His passion is to scientifically decode the yogic literature in modern neuroscience language. Yogic neuroscience is a new scientific field which Ms. Dr. Mayanil is spearheading with fresh logical interpretation and explanation of yogasanas and yogic techniques in the light of modern neuroscience, thus making both yogasana and yoga more appreciable to the logical mind and neuroscience more palatable to the people who do not have that scientific background. Thank you so much, Shekhar Dada, for coming today, and we are eager to listen to the neuroscience perspective of Vishnu Sahasranam. Thank you.
The yogic neuroscience, not just neuroscience.
Yogic neuroscience, right?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Anjali Tai. And after your meditation session, who needs to talk? I don't think anybody needs that. That's the real deal. What you did was the real deal. The rest is all trying to understand. Use your brain unnecessarily, right? Thank you so much, Saili Tai, for and Sri Dada also, Sri Dada Sabnis. Where is he right now? Somewhere he must be busy, so busy. Anyway, so how much time do I have? About till 12 o'clock, is that right? 12 Eastern?
We generally try to do 1 hour, 15 minutes of talk, and if there are question and answers or however
Okay,
you want to
okay.
do it. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, great. So I'll start sharing my slide. And before that, I bow down to Hanumanji Maharaj, who is the be all and end all of everything that is in my life. So, okay. So let me share my slides. Now, almost everybody knows Vishnu Sahastra Naam, right? And that was the whole idea of this. The thing is, we'll be talking about the significance through a different perspective, very different perspective. Vishnu Sahasranam is more than powerful to all of us. I mean, I don't think any science can even come close to touching what it is all about. But we are just, as small babies, we are trying to walk and figuring it out, right? Shuklam Baradaram Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashantaye. When I was starting to learn Vishnu Sahasranam at my age, for the first thing I said, oh, Sarva Vignopashantaye. That means removal of all obstacle. Oh my goodness, fantastic! I love that. So let me figure out. So some things about Vishnu Sahasranam is beyond our understanding. But at least let me see if I can remove the obstacle, but simply by chanting. That's what it is. It is meant to be. This is how MS Subbalakshmi starts. Beautiful. Now, at the end of Vishnu Sahasranam, Parvati ji asks Shivji, केनोपाय लघुना विष्णुर्नाम सहस्त्रकं पठ्यते पंडितैर्नित्यं श्रोतुमिच्छामि अहं प्रभो. In which way I am desirous to know, Parvati ji says to Shivji, O Lord, how the scholars of this world will chant without fail these 1,000 names by a method that is quick and easy. She was of the opinion that this Vishnu Sahasranam is like 108 names, 1,000 names, right? 1,000, not 108, 1,008 names of Vishnu. How can anybody remember so much? And is there any quick and easy way to get the same benefit, Sarva Vignopashante, without chanting the entire deal? And Shivji said, Sri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tatulyam Rama Nama Varanane Sri Rama Nama Varanane Om Namaiti. So he said that I play with Lord Ram always by chanting his Ram, Ram, Ram. His name itself is equivalent to one one chanting of one Ram is equivalent to 1,000 names of Vishnu. That is Shivji's confirmation about the word Ram. Now, from where does the power of the word Ram comes from? Why is he so fired up about Ram? I mean, he could have chanted Vishnu, right? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, or whichever, but he chose Ram. From where does the power of Ram come from? Let's dive deep, a little deeper. Rama equal means there are two letters here, Ram and Ma, right? Now, Ra comes from Om Namo Narayanaya, right? And Ma comes from Om Namah Shivaya. So, if you remove the Ra from the above mantra, what happens is it becomes Om Namo Nayanaya. Nayanaya means Nayan. Nayan means the world of objects that you can see, feel, touch. Eyes has the biggest role inside the brain. So, what happens is normally anything that is the world of objects, of course it can be heard also, it can be seen also, it can be smelled also, it can be smelt also, but eye happens to be the 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 denominator for all the world of objects, right? Now, Ma comes from Om Namah Shivaya. So, if you remove Ma from that above, what happens is Om Na Shivaya. Na Shivaya. Shiva means auspiciousness, right? So, Om Na Shivaya means I bow down to that is everything is inauspicious. So, what is inauspicious? The world of objects which have transient existence. And of course, then I say inauspicious if you remove the ma out of it. So Ra and Ma, that the entire power of those that mantra Rama comes from this auspiciousness and that which is absolute truth. So that is the power of that word, right? Now, in the Vishnu Sahastra Naam, there is a point where they talk about Anushtup Chanda. This is Anushtup Chanda, right? So it is basically 8 by 8 by 8 by 8, which means 4 times. So inhalation 8 counts, hold inner kumbhak 4 counts, and bahya kumbhak, and exhale 8 count, and bahya kumbhak 8 counts. So total 32, which means roughly 2 breaths per minute. This is the power. The real power of Vishnu Sahasranam comes from the kind of breath you take. This is a steady rhythm, supports the breath regulation. The Anushtup Chanda itself is so beautiful that whatever that you start to, whenever you start to chant that, the rhythmic breathing promotes mental clarity and emotional balance. It is a default state situation, aligns with natural breathing cycle support and supports meditative focus. When you even if you listen to it, and if you are, let's say, don't listen to the fast version of Vishnu Sahasranam. That does not really help. Listen to the slow version in the YouTube. Let's say 44-minute version. And as and when Subha Lakshmi ji chants it, you breathe in, hold, breathe out, hold, breathe in, hold, breathe out, hold. So this pranayam that happens is approximately 2 breaths per minute. Of course, there are other mantras in our scriptures. Gayatri mantra is one of them. Trish, Trishut, Trishtub mantra is also very, very powerful. Very, 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 very powerful. And there is another one is Jagati mantra, which is long, expansive, and dynamic mantra. Very, very long. And it takes a powerful lungs, basically. So to hold 12 second, inhale 12 second and hold and actually maintain that breathing pattern is what the whole thing is about. So what happens is Anushtup Chanda has the power to balance us emotionally, align our natural breath cycle. Now, Gayatri Mantra has another beauty to it in that it stimulates Agnya Chakra and Sahasra Chakra if you constantly meditate. So that's why you must have seen those young children who go through Upanayan Sanskar. They are initiated into Gayatri Mantra. And when they chant Gayatri Mantra, what happens is that cognitive clarity is tremendously enhanced in them. And of course, if the Agya Sahasra Chakra are actually triggered by that or stimulated by that Gayatri Mantra or even Anushtup Chandra, for instance, Vishnu Sahastra Naam, you get very intense clarity of like this thing, the frontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex is the real um, center for that cognitive clarity and cognitive for metacognitive intelligence. So that's the real thing. Now, the vibration and the psychoacoustic properties of Vishnu Sahastra Naam. Now, for some people who can chant, fantastic, but there is just listening to it also is a vibrational one, right? Psychoacoustic, just listen to it itself will help you. And how does that help? There is a rhythmic regularity and breath synchronization. Now, as I told you that Chanda is basically 8 by 8 by 8 by 8 syllable structure. So it is basically, it aligns with a human yogic breath, not normal breath. Okay, yogic breath. We are talking about yogic neurosciences here. Now, what happens is if you continuously chant this in single exhalation, a single the in one slok can be chanted with single exhalation. That is the beautiful, and that if it continues in a rhythmic pattern, then the diaphragmatic breathing automatically happens, and diaphragmatic breathing is in sync is the basically what it synchronizes the breath and the sound, right? When the breath and the sound is all synchronized, that is the actual impact of the psychoacoustic chanting. Okay. Now, second thing is cognitive and emotional effects, right? The predictability of the musicality. So, whenever you have heard Subha Lakshmi ji chant this, you are almost ready to listen to the next one also, because you know the rhythm. You know the rhythm. The predictability and musicality of this Anushtup Chanda has its own beauty, and that allows you to be focused and having high memory retention as well as recall. So everybody has a good memory, but most of us do not have good recall. So that recall also happens. And of course, it helps us in emotional regulation. Then the third property of that psychoacoustic uh, chanting is resonance and body conduction. Smita Tai would understand this resonance thing. Um, the repetitive and balanced rhythm of Anushtup Chanda, which is basically our Vishnu Sahasranam, facilitates resonance in the vocal cord, which means the Vishuddhi Chakra, and by extension throughout the body. Anytime, whenever you activate a higher chakra, the rest of the bottom chakra automatically gets activated. That is the beauty of yogic sciences. Yogic sciences say that if you are activating your Agnya chakra for some reason, then the rest of the body chakra gets activated on their own. Why it will happen is I'll tell you there is a power from below also happening. So I'll discuss that a little later. Most practitioners will report that feeling of vibration in the chest and abdomen, especially in the navel region during chanting, which corresponds to Manipura chakra, which means that all of this chanting and breathing, the rhythmic breathing as well as the chanting, is all pointing towards vagus nerve activation, vagus nerve network, I would say. Now, what is this vagus nerve network? It is a solar plexus, right? Solar plexus is also known as the vagus nerve network. This particular one is the vagus nerve network right here. So this entire thing is your vagus nerve. Now, vagus nerve is the 10th cranial nerve which comes from the brain stem right here, and it goes all over the body and innervates almost every part of the body. Now, that's the reason why it is called vagus. Vagus comes from vagabond. Vagabond means growing everywhere. Now, it sends 10% signal from the brain to the rest of the body, and from the rest of the body it takes 90% signal back to brain. So you understand that if you are getting this particular area activated, which contains Manipura chakra essentially, then you are 90% of the signal. Why when you are chanting and automatically doing the diaphragmic breathing, this is the one, this area gets activated actually, and that is the real. When 90% of the inner signal they call it the outside information and the inside information. Right now, Anjali Tai has already talked about the inside information. So this inside information, which has the gut feeling and the emotions and everything else here, this is transferred, communicated directly to the brain for its own activation. So that is the beauty of this chanting. Okay. Now there are not just psychoacoustic effects, but it has a physiological effect also on the solar system. So how is that affected here? Now that is autonomic nervous system. Don't get, there will be some terms that I'll be using. Do not be scared of that, right? I will explain to you. Autonomic means automatic, simple, right? It's like, for instance, breathing, digestion, circulation. These are all autonomic, right? You don't need, I cannot at will control my heartbeat, right? I cannot. Digestion impossible. So all these, so basically, this is all coming from the vagal tone activation. The vagus nerve is responsible for all the good stuff, right? So the solar plexus, which is basically anatomically corresponds to the Manipura chakra, is highly innervated by vagus nerve, which is the key hub for autonomic regulation. Autonomic regulation means automatic regulation. Okay. Slow rhythmic breathing and chanting have been shown to increase heart rate variability, which means if you have a high heart rate, right, suddenly when you chant or hear this mantra, it slows down, and enhances parasympathetic. Parasympathetic means rest and relax, whereas sympathetic means fight and flight. I am in trouble. Oh, come on. Oh, my. Frazzled. Frazzled thinking is sympathetic, whereas is relaxed alertness. They call it the posture of relaxed intensity. They call it. You're so intense, but you're so relaxed. Double. So this is called parasympathetic activity, which means you are alert to everything. So that awareness, this which Anjali Tai was talking to you just now, that awareness comes from parasympathetic activation. That's why in before the meditation, they always allow you to do deep breathing. Deep breathing means diaphragmatic breathing, which means activation of the Manipura chakra or the vagus nerve network. Okay. Now, this is already been, I mean, every slide has 30 papers, scientific papers to back up. So I've just cut down that reference part of it. So this is reflected by physiological markers such as lowered heart rate, reduced blood pressure, and improved digestion. So anybody who has these challenges going on will be very deeply helped by listening to or even chanting. Listening to, when you're listening to, make sure your breathing is according to the chanda, right? 8 by 8 by 8 or 4 by 4 by 4, whatever the thing is. Now you can increase the speed of your, these days such a fantastic concept happened that you can increase or decrease the speed of your YouTube videos also. So if you have a lower speed, then you can really do deep breathing. Anyway, so all these challenges, the heart rate, blood pressure, digestion challenges, all can be solved by that. Resonance and interoceptive awareness. Interoceptive awareness, this is what it is called, inside information, right? Anjalita, you told us about the inside information, inside. So, interoceptive awareness. The vibratory quality of this chanting, especially with deep diaphragmic breathing, can stimulate mechanoreceptors. Yes, mechanoreceptors. Sometimes somebody says, how is breathing going to affect the Manipura chakra or the vagus nerve? Because they have mechanoreceptors also, in addition to chemical receptors in the gut. It has mechanoreceptors above, just below the diaphragm, and diaphragm itself is heavily innervated with vagus nerve. So that also helps. Now, there is a region inside the brain. I think I had talked to about in Sri Yoga platform sometime, where I discussed about the the nitty gritties or the neuroscience, yogic neuroscience behind meditation practices. All that is a very great scientific study which I have discussed in that session. There is a region called insular cortex. In fact, also in the gravity of gratitude, also I had already talked about the insular cortex, which is the seat for compassion and love in our being, right? That is the one which sends it is responsible for interoceptive processing. So whenever you have a fear, suddenly it tells. Gut tells you, the gut feeling, gut tells you what the real thing is about. If you have a great feeling, it still in the gut only. So all this processing of cognitive and affective states are governed by insular cortex, which in turn is governed by the Manipura chakra. Neural oscillations and brain body coupling. So this is another. Now this slide itself is a seminar, two seminar by itself. So I'm just going to briefly tell you. Rhythmic breathing entails or entrains neural oscillation across the brain, particularly gamma and the theta frequency band. I'm not going to go into too much detail on it, but since the information is so important, that's why I'm telling you. Now, these oscillations are linked to attention, memory, emotional regulation, and sensory integration. This suffice to say that gamma and theta frequency band are necessary for attention, memory, emotional regulation, and sensory integration. So, this is what it is doing. Now, remember Ram, when you say Ram, all this is happening. Or when you say Sri Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Sri Ram, Jai Jai. All this is happening actually inside your brain. Okay. Now, predictive processing and active inference. Now, what happens is whenever we are, let's say, sitting at home, I'm going to explain this simply, very simple example. When you're sitting at home, you have all the, you're quietly sitting, there is no disturbance at all. Suddenly you hear a sound, loud noise outside somewhere. Now, does that interfere with your peace? Yes. But how do you basically balance it out? Somebody with a bipolar disorder or schizophrenia will hear a sound and he'll jump out of his seat or her seat, right? And if he sees another sound like that, he will again jump out of. Whereas we will not jump. We say, okay, I heard that one before, that no big deal. So that calming down is done by this uh, mantra chanting. So once you have all that, um, this is called free energy principle and the predictive processing framework inside our brain, which basically settles us back to normal. This is all that is, right? And minimizes uncertainty. We do not get too much perturbed by outside circumstances or even inside circumstances. Let's say you have to you are happening, something is happening in your body and you're still calm, you're not perturbed about it. So they call it by grounding the attention in the present moment. This is what causes the present moment awareness. The basic fundamental mechanism of how that present moment awareness happens is coming from these uh, predictive processing and free energy principle interacting to each other and through breathing and rhythmic chanting. Okay. Now, conventional teachers, Pandit, I would say, consider Vishnu Sahastra Naam to be highly effective, universal solution that balances all grahas by addressing their source, sun, the supreme lord of cosmic order, rather than dealing with each planet separately. This is quite a mouthful, but please pay attention to the bold highlighted ones. Highly effective universal solution that balances all grahas, which means sun itself. So which means they say that it has balancing effect on the outer universe, right? The sun. But that is cosmic order. So sometimes when you say we have this um, Mangal having a problem in our life and Shani, Sade Sati is happening in our life, or Guru is not good these days, Rahu is in control of my life and those things. Instead of trying to pacify each and every one of them, they say, They say if you can just chant this Vishnu Sahastra Naam, that will take care of it. Because what is Vishnu Sahastra Naam is addressing the sun itself. No, Vishnu and sun, which means Ram. Ram is what? From solar dynasty. Remember, Ram comes from solar dynasty, and that's why it is Ram. And Hanumanji is, Hanumanji, he he the moment he was born, like few weeks of age, he saw a sunrise and he said, that must be a fruit. He jumped. So, which means how powerful Hanumanji's solar uh, this thing is, attention is, affinity for sun is. Sun is basically Ram only. That is the affinity that he has for Ram. So they say that ekai sadhe sab sadhe, sab sadhe sab jaye. Rahiman mulahi sichibo phule phale adha. So it tells that they are not interested in trying to figure out every other planet. Oh, this is malefic planet, this is benefic planet, and this is Mangal is kharab ho gaya, iska Shani is not good. Don't try to do that. Strengthen the sun. That's what it says. Now, how can chanting Vishnu Sahasranam or meditating on Lord Vishnu or Ram be the panacea for all our problems and obstacles? This is the real question that is, we are sarva vignopashantaye, right? That's what it is. Now, and a wise man once told me, if you are suffering, it's your fault. He says that the fault is always of the sufferer. And to be very honest with you, I did not like that man that moment. It took me 30 years to like him because I was fighting with that thought. If I am suffering, he says, are you suffering? I say, yes. Then it's your fault. I didn't like it. So, you know what I was doing? I was blaming the Saturn or the Sadesati or the Mangal. Mangal was malefic, and or my colleagues and my boss or the economy for my misery. Whatever, whenever you point out eh, somebody else for your misery, you will never be, you cannot solve the universe. Similarly, if the planets are malefic, you can't go ahead and solve the solar system, right? But if you can solve the sun, how do you reach the sun? You cannot. So there's somebody which is inside us that is happening. So they say that D.V. Paluskar, somebody must have heard this bhajan. It's one of the most beautiful bhajans I heard during the same time. Remember when this was happening, when they said, if you are at fault, you are suffering because it's your fault, right? That same time this I heard this bhajan, long time ago. जानकी नाथ सहाय करे जब कौन बिगाड़ करे नर तेरो जानकी नाथ सहाय सूरज मंगल सोम भृगु सुत बुध अरु गुरु वरदायक तेरो राहु केतु की नाही गम्यता संग शनिचर होत उचेरो जानकी नाथ सहाय. Oh, I say, my goodness. If Janaki Nath Sahai means if one who received the grace of Lord Ram, Janaki Nath means Janaki is Sitaji's Lord, is Nath means Lord Ram. If somebody receives the grace of Lord Ram, then all the 9 planets, whether auspicious or inauspicious, begin to yield favorable results, and no planet can cause them any harm. I love that one. I say, my God, the solution right here. How do I get the grace? What is this grace? I want some of that too, man. Let's derive this. What is this Ram's grace all about? Right? Now, let's compare the Brahmand. But Brahmand, for not the entire cosmos, but just solar system. Yat Pinde Tat Brahmande, or just the other way around, Tat Brahmande Yat Pinde. You can say that, right? So this basically talks about interconnectedness. And mirroring reflection. So which means interconnected means the idea that all things are linked and are not separate entities but part of the larger unified whole. This is what this Yat Pinde Tat Brahmande talks about. Connectedness, interconnectedness. So which means whatever is happening out there, the Shanichar, the Som, Venus and Mercury and all that stuff, all that is happening here must be happening in us too. That individual is a miniature model of the cosmos, and the cosmos reflects the individual inner state and the structure. So whatever if the solar system exists out there must be solar system parallel in us too. That is the part of the sun that we are talking about in yogic neurosciences. And what is that sun? Is there any point pointing our fingers at the outer world now? Certainly not. Yet Pinde Tat Brahmande presupposes that there must be sun or the solar system equivalent in our body too. And if that is so, then it must power the rest of our body the way sun powers all the planets. So whether there will be an emotional problem, whether there will be a physical problem, there will be outer problem also can be solved if we can trigger the sun in our. How can you imagine in the solar system, which if the sun runs out of its fuel, the hydrogen fusion energy, immediately the entire universe, the entire solar system will collapse and become zero. Same is the case in our body. If our inner sun is not strong enough, what will happen? The entire system will collapse. Inner system definitely collapses and outer system also collapses. So let us find out what is in us, or the inner solar system, which mirrors the outer solar system, basically. Now this is your sun, right? This is your sun. Now you cannot see the flares. Solar flares only can be seen during solar eclipse, but it is sending out radiation all over the right. Now in our brain also there are some hubs. Basically, I would say this is a hub which sends out all the connections throughout the brain. Throughout there is one hub which is central hub, which sends out all the connections to the rest of the brain, right? Yat pinde tat brahmande. Now this particular central region is called thalamus. Can thalamus in our brain be equated to the sun? That is the question. Now this particular thing is called thalamocortical radiation, which means thalamus is the only region in the brain which has connection to all the rest of the part of the brain. Plus, at the same time, it receives the signal back again. So it is bidirectional signaling going on non-stop. Every part of the brain is connected to this. So this similar to the sun, right? So this thalamus is the real sun in our. Now let's compare that with the sun outside and the sun inside, which is thalamus, right? The role is the center of the solar system. The sun is the center of the solar system, and thalamus is the center of the brain. Now, what function it has? The sun provides light and energy, and here the thalamus relays the sensory information, which is basically light, right? It has rhythm. The sun controls the rhythm. The day and night cycle, it controls it, right? Similarly, this particular fellow, thalamus controls sleep-wake cycles in our body. And the structure, it radiates light like corona, whereas this fellow radiates nerve fibers, which is thalamic radiation. Where is this thalamus in our brain? Just above the pons, this particular one. I'll tell you that. This is medulla oblongata and this is pons, and just above it, this fellow is sitting here nicely. The biggest part of the brain. I mean, a single structure in the brain, which is the biggest here, is this one. Now, these are different nuclei of this particular, from where the nerves will go and come back, right? I'll tell you how that works. Now, this thalamus is the router of the brain, you call it, right? And all the other parts of the brain is basically your devices. occipital cortex is there, posterior, various devices which control millions functions, right? All those are small devices, but it is connected to the router which is sending the signal, and it sends the signal back to thalamus. Same is just like that. The great corticothalamic system, which is bidirectional signaling in the cortex. Cortex means the entire top part of the brain. This particular brainstem, from the brainstem, this particular vagus nerve is coming here from the brainstem and activating the thalamus. And in terms striatum, palladium, all, don't worry about the name. Just it. The best thing is that it sending out the signals to the rest of the brain and the receiving signal from the rest of the brain. Now what happens is, if thalamus is busted for some reason, now we can bust our thalamus by our own choice, and that is thiamine deficiency and severe alcoholism can irreversibly cause lesion in the thalamus and related structures with profound amnesia. And Vishnu Sahastra Naam does what? Enhance memory. And here they is talking about amnesia, which means alcoholism will cut down those fibers which the thalamus controls. Or thalamus sends out those nerve fibers to those areas, right? Now, thalamic damage, especially in the mid-dorsal region or mid-nucleus, typically leads to prefrontal cognitive deficit. Prefrontal cortex means lack of decision making. Cannot decide they call it decision constipation, whether to decide or not to decide. That's exactly the challenge that happens to those people who have busted thalamus. And thalamus is so deep you cannot bust it. Only when you do damage by yourself, then only it can be busted. Now somebody is doing something on their screen, so kindly refrain from that. I appreciate that. Now, if thalamus is a router, then vagus nerve network is the internet of our body. And that internet is controlled by Rama. That is the power. The Bij mantra for Manipura Chakra is Rang or Ram. This is the one. So, the way sun powers its planets around it, does the thalamus power the grahas or the planets equivalent in our brain? That is the question. Now we have seen that thalamus, all the planets outside in the solar system is controlled by the sun. Does thalamus do the same thing? And if that sun is the one main thing, what are the 9 grahas in our brain? This is what it is. Now this particular one, if you like, just the center part of the brain, all the way, if you take a section like that, frontal, this is a coronal section. They call coronal section means you make a section, maybe PET scan or something, an MRI scan, just cut it across the center part of your face all the way, ears and all that. This is how it is. That particular region this particular region, like this one, is thalamus. Okay. Now, who is the closest to the thalamus or to the sun? Mercury. Remember, this is the Mercury here. This one is the Mercury here. And moon is and Venus is the second closest to the sun. So this one. So this one is deeper actually. That's why it showed like that, but it is not closest to the sun. So hypothalamus is considered moon. Now you'll say, how do you know that is hypothalamus is considered moon or subthalamus is considered Mercury? Because what are the qualities of these uh, sun and Mercury and all that? I'll tell you that. Sun is the main essence which controls all the planets. Correct. Now, if if sun is Sunday, let's say Sunday, moon is Monday, right? Moon day, I would say. Now, Somvar they call it, right? Somvar. Now, the Somvar is Som is basically emotional, right? So, if anything that is regulating our emotion, it is subthalamus, which is why it is so close to the sun. The hypothalamus. Hypothalamus is close to the sun here. Now, this controls the emotion. Moon's or hypothalamus is always. So, how does equivalence come into picture? Because hypothalamus controls emotion and moon also controls emotion. Have you seen lunatics? The word lunatics during the full moon, that is basically the emotional balance or emotional control by the moon. Now, Mars is amygdala. Have you ever, if you have read the book Gravity of Gratitude, my father experienced amygdala hijack in that. Amygdala hijack means you are doing something so irrational, you get terribly angry, you can hurt somebody, and then 2 minutes later you say, "My goodness, what did I do?" So that type of a amygdala hijack is basically you get panic attacks so deep, intense anxiety, like deep rooted anxiety sometimes. That is actually amygdala hijack, and which is Mars. Mars contains what? It is a red planet. When the red planet, which means what is red in our blood, in our body, the blood is red. Now, if your blood is contaminated by cortisol, and that is exactly why the cortisol goes and attacks the hypothalamus pituitary axis, and everything is gone after that. Right? That is exactly what Mars coming from the functional aspect of amygdala. That's why I call this as Mars in our brain. Right? These things are Mars in our brain. This is the hypothalamus in our brain, which has the same resembling properties as the moon. And then the fourth, let's say, where is the fourth? Mercury, subthalamus. Now, Mercury is Buddha. Buddha is, now, this particular thing is, they call it the memory recall and all that good stuff. The buddhi, where, or the sight of intellect, basically, this one. The fifth one is globus pallidus, which is Jupiter. So I'll tell you all the good stuff here. Ketu is here. Saturn is this one, right? Rahu is here in this part of the caudate nuclei. Head of the caudate nuclei is Rahu. It resembles all the properties of that. I'll just show you how that works out here. Now, these are different grahas. This is the meaning of these grahas, basically, and neurophysiological counterpart. What is that? Surya is the vitality or the authority that Surya provides is coming from the thalamus or cortical arousal system, which is basically the function is consciousness integration of the sensory input. All the sensory input, they call it the introspective or introspection. The brain does not make decision based on knowledge that is sitting outside. It has its own interpreting system, and that is controlled by the thalamus. Right? Now, moon represents emotion, rhythm, which is in our brain, hypothalamus and pineal gland, and it regulates circadian rhythm, melatonin secretion, and emotional tides. Rahu controls desire, Ketu controls detachment. This is the opposite. So Rahu is basically desire, obsession, illusion, and Ketu is detachment, liberation, inward focus. And this is basically done by the lateral hypothalamus. Okay. Now, this is reward seeking and this is inner withdrawal. So there are two different function of the Rahu and Ketu. They are two opposite functions. Mars is blood, courage, and that is basically regulated by the amygdala. So that's why amygdala is considered as Mars in our brain. Mercury is intellect, communication, and adaptability, which is controlled by prefrontal cortex and subthalamus. Remember that. So prefrontal cortex is our CEO of our brain, which is buddhi, right? And that controls metacognition, decision making, thought, speech, and executive control. That's what is said, CEO. Very, very, those people who are very decisive have a very good Mercury, or you can say good functional thalamus and prefrontal cortex. Guru is equivalent to the wisdom, right? In our Sanatan Sanskriti, it is called dharma. That who is established in his own dharma is the one which is basically has a very, very strong guru. And that is, I mean, globus pallidus, hippocampus, and frontal networks basically do the exact same thing in our neurophysiology as a guru would do from outside, right? Long-term memory, learning, and moral reasoning is done by that guru, right? This particular globus pallidus is responsible for all these functions actually. Now, Venus, which control love, pleasure, beauty, creativity, reproduction, all that is done by creative. Most creative planet is Venus, and that is done by substantia nigra. Remember, substantia nigra neurodegeneration causes Parkinson disease. Now, hypothalamic reward circuit and limbic system. This is what is done by the Venus, or it produces what? Oxytocin, dopamine, bonding, pleasure, creativity. This is the function of this substantia nigra, hypothalamic reward system and limbic system. This is compared 100% akin to Venus uh, graha, right? Saturn is results giver. Saturn is not a bad malefic planet as they call it. It is nothing to do with it, is only gives you the results. That's it. Whatever you have done, if you have messed up your sun, which is because whatever you might have done not good, or maybe not have activated thalamus for some reason, what it converts into is emotional upheavals, which contaminates your blood, which means Mars is contaminated, which means Mangal is contaminated. When Mangal is contaminated, Buddha, which is Buddhi, is gone. It is taken away. Your, once the Buddhi is gone, as Bhagavad Gita talks about, once Buddhi is gone, pranashyati, sarvanash ho gaya uska. It is done, right? And then once the buddhi is busted, actually what happens, you do not listen to your guru, which means anything that tells you otherwise from your own thinking, from your own um, contaminated thinking, I would say, a loss of uh, buddhu thinking, not buddhivan, but buddhuvan, buddhu. So that particular person will never listen to any guru, as a result of which he will never be creative to figure out solutions that might be presenting themselves in the world right there, but he will not be able to make use of that creatively. Okay. And then what happens? Shani will give the results. So if your sun is not strong, or if your Ravivar is not strong, the Somvar is not strong enough, then Mangalvar, which means your blood is having cortisol in the system. Cortisol in the system actually hijacks your entire buddhi, and then once that buddhi is hijacked, you will not listen to anything good or wisdom of people, like the way I was not listening to the wisdom. That person says, if you are suffering, it's your fault. I would not listen to him. I would not, I would rather like to blame the universe, right? That fellow did this and this planet is not good. That is the reason why we do not listen to Guru, because our buddhi is brushed actually, right? And then creativity, you might see creative solutions right in front of you and you just cannot see it because your Venus is not good, right? Your substantia, hypothalamic reward circuit system, all that is not working properly. Results is, you know what, challenges, right? Suffering. Please do not run on, right on the screen right now. Please, I appreciate that. Okay. Now, Shani is basically what is habit formation. When you're slave to your habits now, right? On the other hand, everything good can happen also. Not that bad thing, only good. When the Surya is good, the moon is great, Mars is fantastic, clean blood, Buddhi is Tikshna, huh? Sutikshna Buddhi. And then Jupiter is fantastic. You are listening to you are standing on the road intersection trying to cross the traffic, and then somebody comes in front of you, and they say that he's talking to somebody else on the phone, and you heard that sentence, and you find that, oh my goodness, yeah, I think that what he says might be useful to you. So which means now you have got a guru in the universe. Everybody in the world will become a guru now. Anybody, you might start listening to the closest of the close people whom you have been not listening to thus far, particularly your wife. Now this is what it is. So thalamus is the sun, which is now best part of it is, remember, thalamus is directly has a very high input into the subthalamus, which means that which intellect. So in addition to thalamus controlling the hypothalamus, then the amygdala, and then the subthalamus, it has a better, stronger influence on the subthalamus, which is basically the intellect. So no wonder. And I was wondering how come Mercury is so close to the sun, which Mercury is represent Buddhi. Then I said, yes, that is the real deal, because solar energy is immediately, or yeah, our inner sun is affecting our Buddhi directly, right? Now, and then of course, Guru, which has its own. So all these regions are interconnected and they talk to each other, and that is exactly what the the free energy uh, nomenclature that I was talking to you about, that happens. These things are talking to each other very nicely, and they are trying to make a decision for you. And then the planet Shani is a planet giver, which now these things are actually controlled by what? Thalamus. And who controls the thalamus? The vagus nerve network, Manipura chakra. That's why this big thick arrow here, the biggest is this guy is the one which controls so our vagus nerve is the sun of the sun, major sun. It controls this sun through its 90% input inside the brain, right? Now the closest experience to this graha in our system is the weekday, right? Ravivar, I just mentioned to you briefly. I just wanted to show you this one also. Now it is a repetition of what I said. Ravivar, Somvar, moon emotion, Mars, Mangalvar, and Mercury is Budhvar. And then Gurvar comes from Jupiter. And then Friday is Venus, and Saturday is your sun. So thalamus controls. Now this particular is Tat Brahmande. This is so natural in the world. I mean, in the in the solar system, in inner solar system, our solar system, this is so Yat Vinde. And all of these uh, brain structures or brain nuclei, I would say, has exact correlation to these uh, Brahmand or the planets. Every other planet has its own role in our life, and so is these uh, you call it the basal ganglia structures, right? And Manipura chakra is the boss of the brain, and then thalamus controls the intellect. Eventually, direct control of thalamus to the intellect, bypassing all these things. It tells you what is right and what is not right if your thalamus is good, or which means if your sun is good, which entirely means that if your vagus nerve network is good, or your solar plexus is good, or you can say your Manipura chakra is activated sufficiently well, then that is exactly, that is what it is. They call it Jab Janaki Nath Sahay Tab करे तब कौन बिगाड़ करे so this is, if your thalamus is Janaki Nath, and this is basically your Hanuman ji. Hanumanji is the one which controls the thalamus. Can you believe that? That is exactly what it is. The Ramchandraji is praising the glory of Hanumanji all the time. And who represents Hanumanji in our body? Breath is our Hanumanji. Through the breath, vagus nerve network gets activated. And there are other ways to activate the vagus nerve. I'll share with you just now. So how somebody in my last presentation here somewhere, I think BMM Uttar. So one of them person asked the question. Later on, they asked, how do you explain Surya Grahan in our brain? Well, Surya Grahan is basically when the neural circuit that connects the thalamus to other parts, such as hypothalamus, thalamus, substantia nigra, etc., loses its connection or is broken because we are experiencing what? Neurodegeneration. Uh, because we have not had enough stronger thalamus, then that is equivalent to Surya Grahan. For instance, in Parkinson's disease, I would say when the substantia nigra which is degenerated, partly because the nerve connection between thalamus and substantia nigra is broken, right? That would be equivalent to Surya Grahan. And the effect is, now, how do you consider that? Now, which means if this is, you're talking about thalamus and substantia nigra in the brain, what does it mean that these structures are regulated directly by vagus nerve? Absolutely yes. Not just the vagus nerve, but also the gut bacteria activating the vagus nerve receptors directly into the brain, especially the dopamine producing region in the substantia nigra. So wherever there is a, so everything is so beautifully connected here. Our vagus nerve, Manipura chakra, chanting, which is Vishuddhi chakra, and the Agya chakra and all that good stuff, they all are working in conjunction. So if there is Agya chakra, thalamus is a part of, major part of that Agya chakra. Agya chakra does not necessarily contain one single nuclei or one single part in the brain. The pons, the medulla oblongata, the thalamus, the hypothalamus, the pituitary, all this contains this entire net nuclei or the brain parts contains the Agya chakra actually. And the rest, the cortex basically is your Sahasra chakra. Now, what are the ways to activate our sun, our solar plexus? Do sun gazing, get up in the morning at just before the sunrise, face east, and you will see a beautiful sun. That is that that will reduce the sleepy effect of melatonin. Melatonin is produced by pineal gland. When the darkness descends on us, like low light, pineal gland releases melatonin. Melatonin has an inhibitory effect on thalamus, so that the brain kind of relaxes now. Less input. So what it does, it makes the input that is coming into the brain shut down. That's exactly the role of melatonin is. Yogasans, Surya Namaskar, Balasan, Bhujangasan, Surya Kriya, and now all these things actually causes activation of the parasympathetic. Parasympathetic means rest and relaxation, good peaceful mind. Anulom Vilom is very good. Bhastrika and Kapalbhati, these are diaphragmic breathing exercises that can do it. Meditation, Yog Nidra has a great way of increasing vagal tone, because what you do is you lie down and do belly breathing actually. Of course, Sankirtan, Bhajan, humming, Brahmari. Brahmari is very powerful. Brahmari directly activates our inner sun, the thalamus itself, right? Gargling and yodeling is basically through this Vishuddhi chakra. Sankirtan and all that bhajan is basically going lower, means diaphragm. So Brahmari is at the top directly. So if you are doing meditation, I have seen this over and over again, and it is one of the best way to, when you sit in meditation in the beginning, 10 minutes you are turbulent. You get up. I say, that's not my cup of tea. I'll rather dig the ditches or do the dishes or mow the lawn. It's better that way. I get peaceful that way. But no, if you do Brahmari, negate all the nonsense thought, unnecessary thought parade goes away. Brahmari, and then you can bypass that thought situation and go directly into deep meditation right away. Brahmari is the key to deep meditation. Of course, taking cold shower, suddenly you can activate your vagus nerve. Okay. Now, I call it take care of your internet, which means vagus nerve network or Manipura chakra. And the router, which is thalamus, will take care, and all the other devices will take care of themselves. So that's what it is. Sri Hanumanji Maharaj reached out to the sun. Sri Ram of the solar dynasty, at least we can reach out to our inner sun, the thalamus, through our solar plexus, which is Manipura chakra, and become the master of our destiny. No more blaming anybody else. We can control our life because what God has sent us with everything in our capacity to make a difference. We cannot be cowed down to a challenging situation, which is mostly our own fault. If I am suffering, I am at fault. So let's me figure out what the fault lies. Fault lies in the sun not being strong. That's all. Let's get the sun strong. Then there was one Odia friend who said, ಜೀವನೋತೆ ದುಃಖ ಸಂಸಾರತೆ ಮೋಹಮಾಯ. ಜೀವನದಲ್ಲಿ ಜಿಗುಪ್ಸ, they call it in Kannada language. So from Jivanodati Dukkho Sansarati Mohamaya, you can get to Jivanoti Sukho Shantiroti Jnanomaya. Or you can say Jivanote Sukho Anandoti Shantimaya. You can say that. Or Jivanadalli Prema Asa. That way you can change your life. So thankful to the sun within us and to you all. Thank you so very, very much.
That was beautiful, Shekhar Dada. Thank you so much. Uh, that
Yeah.
was such rich information, and it was definitely something new that we learned today. And in our group, we have talked about some of the topics, but you connected everything together. And definitely, Yat Pinde Tat Brahmande. I think we learned a very good concept today, and how everything is connected, like whether it's
Yes,
chakra meditation, whether it's breathing exercises, whether it's chanting. Very beautiful. Thank you so
all
much.
together, everything.
Yeah, and especially the thalamus as the center of the brain, and it being parallel to the sun being center of the universe. That metaphor is amazing, and I think it's very easy to remember
Yes.
for people who have never thought of it like that. So thank you so much. Uh, uh, Before we go to questions, Anjali, did you have anything to say, Anjali?
Yeah, it was like I'm like speechless. It's like I learned so many things, means like so many answers came to me, and I believed that I believed in Ram Nam. I regularly chant Vishnu Sahastra Naam, but I got such a clarity what I'm doing, why I'm doing it now. So thank you so much, Shekhar Dada. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So we have a few minutes, so we are not going to get to all questions, but I will just ask you a couple of questions in the chat. One question is, so in that Graha slide that you showed, where is
Yes.
the Earth? One question is, where is the Earth?
Basically, Earth would be. Let me. Earth would be what Earth the Earth would be Mooladhara Chakra. Mooladhara Chakra basically is controlling through the vagus nerve the thalamus eventually. The Earth is our root chakra.
Okay. Okay. So
Yeah,
literally
but I
closer
am
to
not
the Earth.
100% sure which
Okay.
part of the brain that particular thing. I have a slide later on somewhere. I have in my computer. There is a slide which I am remembering. Where might it be? That the earth basically Mooladhara chakra is directly controlling the prefrontal cortex area. I have a I can share that sometime, but I right now I don't have that slide.
Yeah, no, but that's good to know. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
The next question is how to control the grahas or modulate it based on neurophysiology and the 9 grahas that you present.
Simple. Do your Surya Namaskar. Chant or listen to Vishnu Sahastra Naam. But when you are listening to Vishnu Sahastra Naam for reasons, then it's better to use the listening with the breathing. Connect the listening to the breathing. If you are not remembering it, like for instance, I do not remember the entire Vishnu Sahasranam. I cannot chant it flawlessly. So what I do is I put a PDF of the Vishnu Sahasranam in front of me, and in the background, uh, MS Subha Lakshmi ji is chanting in a slow pace. So I do the pranayam using that particular thing. The way Hanuman Chalisa I had done. Uh, श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मन मुकुर सुधार जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीश तेहु लोक उजागर तो जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर I inhale जय कपीश तेहु लोक उजागर I exhale I hold and Ramadut Atulita Baladhama I exhale and Anjani Putra Pavan Sutnama I again hold. So I made the entire Hanuman Chalisa as a breathing cycle. I call it as a Chalisa pranayam. So that also I can do. Same as you can do it here also. Um, uh, our Vishnu Sahasrana, our Ram Raksha also. Ram Raksha has so many Rams in it. So many Rams in it. So you can use Ram Raksha as inhalation, hold, exhalation, hold. Right? Om Namo Narayanaya. Or you can do that Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. So all are 8 syllables. Remember that. All are 8 or 4 syllables. You can do that. Similarly, when you listen to Vishnu Sahasranam, you, if you are not chanting yourself, then automatically your breathing is regularized if you chant properly. Just the breathing, but it's not the pranayam. You can use that as a pranayam source also by listening to it and maintaining your breath cycle accordingly. So, does that answer your question?
Yeah, I believe so. There are many ways to do that, but thank you so much for covering so much in such little time. One
Yes.
last question would be
Yes.
somebody asked, is there a special time to chant Vishnu Sahasranam?
It would be better if it is in the morning, because Ram is basically sun. It will help in the morning, but you can chant it all day long. It doesn't matter.
Okay, thank
Shekhar
you.
Mama?
Just a
Hello.
second. We will not open for questions right now. We are almost to the end of the session, and after we stop the recording, we will definitely give you a few minutes to chat with Shekhar Dada if he has time.
And I will tell you honestly, if you post, you can give my WhatsApp number to anybody or email smayanil@gmail.com, and email is.
Yeah, we will put that on the group. So for people who are new to the group, we have a WhatsApp group. So if you want to join the group, the link I posted in the chat, feel free to get more information and join the group. Before we end, we always like to announce what we are going to have next week. So next Sunday, we are going to have a session by another great teacher and expert, Professor Madhav Deshpande, and he's going to talk about uh, he's a Sanskrit scholar, award-winning Sanskrit scholar, and very accomplished. He has also come on our platform before. He has been writing one shloka a day for last many weeks, and so he has 3,000 shlokas in Sanskrit, which he calls Krishna Kavya, Madhav Karanamrita. And he's going to share with us some of his creations. So that will be next Sunday at the same time on this platform. And thank you all for joining us today. The recording of this session will be available on our YouTube channel when it is downloaded. Again, you can find information about that on the link I shared. Thank you very much, Shekhar Dada. It
Thank
was,
you.
yeah, it was
Thank you.
very, very useful session today. And thank you once again for joining.
I am
I'm going.
afraid I am not able to see most of the questions that have been asked in the chat. So if I can, like, for some, when you
I
save
can
this
send
thing,
them to
then
you.
yeah, I can
Yeah.
send me the chat so that I can answer to everybody.
Yes, yes, definitely. I'm just going to stop the recording now.
Sure.